is on. Use the opportunity to register to vote. On the news this morning, Governor Fubara explains reasons for his silence amidst impeachment saga. Rivers government acknowledges sacrifices of fallen heroes. Resident doctors suspend planned strike. President Tinubu arrives UAE ahead of summit. On the foreign scene, Iran warns the US against attacks. Details of these and more after this break. The sacrifices of fallen heroes and heroines, as well as veterans present at the service, describing their sacrifices as invaluable to the nation.
I want to thank all of you, and I want to thank God that we are alive today to remember and celebrate the heroes, fallen heroes and heroines, and the legionnaires that are here. Our Father, Most Reverend Blessing Eyinda, encapsulated everything by saying that we are each and every one of us remembered by what we have done.
Well, in his sermon, the Archbishop of the Niger Delta Province and Bishop of the Ikwere Diocese, the Most Reverend Blessing Eyinda, commended Governor Fubara for his consistent support for the armed forces. He urged leaders and citizens to live lives that build a legacy of peace, love, and service to God and humanity. Still talking Armed Forces Remembrance Day, the wife of the Rivers State Governor, Valerie Fubara, says the state government remains committed to inclusive governance, social responsibility, and the welfare of citizens, especially members of the armed forces and their families. Mrs. Fubara said this on Saturday while hosting the Maiden Humanitarian Outreach, Family and Community Day at the Government House in Port Harcourt. She noted that the dedication and sacrifices of members of the armed forces continue to preserve Nigeria's peace, unity, and territorial integrity.
Our armed forces continue to demonstrate unwavering commitment to safeguarding lives, protecting property, and securing critical national assets. Their noble service has contributed immensely to peace, economic progress, and social cohesion. It is therefore both our moral duty and solemn responsibility as a people and as a government to continually honor their sacrifices, support their welfare, and extend compassion and care to their families.
The event, held as part of activities marking the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day in the state, drew attendance from the Deputy Governor, Professor Ngozi Odu, the Commissioner for Women Affairs, Dr. Rosaline Apawari Oranta, the head of the Rivers State Civil Service, Dr. Iyingi Brown, and Professor Rosaline Konya, among others. Correspondent Onyeka Chinwo's reports that the event featured games, cultural displays, and the presentation of gifts to armed forces veterans and widows of fallen heroes. And now in Ikwere local government area, the chairman, Charles Nwobodo, says there is a need to honor the courage, sacrifice, and selfless service of fallen heroes who defended Nigeria's unity, peace, and sovereignty. Nwobodo made the call during a special Thanksgiving service to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day at St. Patrick's Catholic Church, Alemini Ishobo. He also urged continued prayers for the families of fallen heroes, especially widows and children who carry the burden of their sacrifice. The Ikwere Council chairman further pledged to provide solar-powered lights for the church, assuring that all commitments made by his administration will be fulfilled in due time.
I was shocked to hear that he's planning towards solar light. I don't know if he's aware that our light arrangement, bringing light to the local government, is up to 90% done. I do not know the level of the solar you want to acquire for the church. If it's a solar that will carry the whole church or carry a particular thing. It's a church project, however, but this is where we have found ourselves. Please pardon us. I only say I want to be part of the project to make sure that the church have solar.
In his remarks, the chairman of the Nigeria Legion in Ikwere local government area, Joshua Obinnawono, appealed to well-meaning individuals to support legionaries, noting that many receive little assistance from society. He also advised serving security personnel to remain patient and uphold the ethics of their profession.
Our brothers and sisters in the LGA, each time we come out, they should try to support us because we are not getting enough support from the populace. A lot of persons does not understand the real meaning of Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. It's not an easy thing to serve and retire or either discharge voluntarily.
Our correspondent reports that the highlight of the Thanksgiving service is a special prayer offered for the chairman of Ikwere local government area, Charles Wobodo, and his vice, Ethel Kinika. The event was attended by councillors, political appointees, and community leaders from across Ikwere local government area. To other stories now, the Rivers Ijaw People's Congress says the issues between the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly and Governor Siminalayi Fubara are constitutional and have nothing to do with ethnicity. This is according to the Director General of RIVCO, Dr. Roland Sekibo, at a media briefing. He was reacting to claims by the Ijaw Youth Council Eastern Zone and the Ijaw National Congress that the FCT maintains behind the impeachment notice served on Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu. Dr. Sekibo dissociated the FCT minister from the crisis between the River State House of Assembly and the governor. Now, he advised the Ijaw Youth Council and the Ijaw National Congress to carefully study the content of the impeachment notice to determine whether the allegations are true. He warned both groups to desist from meddling in constitutional matters they have little knowledge about.
We strongly condemn the deliberate attempt to drag the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Chief Dr. Nyesom Ezebonwike, into a purely constitutional dispute. The prevailing political situation in Rivers State is strictly a constitutional matter, arising from alleged infractions of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and remains an issue exclusively between the Rivers State House of Assembly and the governor, and therefore has nothing to do with ethnicity or any external body. We therefore advise the joint press statement authors to ask their son, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, to explain clearly what his actual grievances are and what is specifically sought from the Rivers State House of Assembly that they failed him.
Dr. Sekibo also says it is public knowledge that President Bola Tinubu earlier intervened in the matter, but Governor Siminalayi Fubara did not yield to the president's advice, leading to the 6-month state of emergency declared by the president.
We further caution the authors of the joint press statement to desist from dragging the Rivers Ijaw People's Congress into this constitutional matter. It is on record that agreements were reached primarily to prevent the extension of the emergency rule and to facilitate the governor's return to office. This agreement resolved the extension of the emergency rule. The pertinent question now is to whether the governor has implemented any of those agreements. The answer is no. To date, he had failed to implement any of them. He has also refused to engage meaningfully with members of the State House of Assembly, attempting to deprive them of their legitimate functions as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution.
He further calls on all sons and daughters of the Ijaw ethnic nationality not to be misled by statements credited to members of the Ijaw Youth Council and the Ijaw National Congress against the FCT minister, noting that the issues go beyond ethnic considerations. In another development, public affairs commentator and lawyer Chimene Mwodi is defending the thank you visit by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to local government areas in Rivers State. Speaking with our correspondent, Mwodi says Thanksgiving is biblical and should be encouraged, describing critics of the visit as antagonist and busybodies.
These are people that stood by him, voted him, ensured that the present governor today became a governor. And if in his wisdom he finds it, say, look, please, let me go and tell them thank you. Why should it create an opera? These are people that wants to be unnecessarily famous, busybodies, who would want to attack things even. It's even biblical when you say thank you. The Bible made it clear. So if the FCT minister deems it fit to say, look, let me go and tell these local government chairmen and zones and wards, people, thank you. Why should it bring an opera? If not the same fellows who want to antagonize the system.
He also lashed out at those calling for the resignation or removal of the FCT minister. Now, Minister Muonyili accused Governor Siminalayi Fubara of running the state aground. Meanwhile, the African Democratic Congress says Rivers State continues to experience political instability because the APC and its elected officials prefer political tension to good governance. The state spokesperson of the ADC, Luckyman Igila, said this during an interview with correspondent Suebi Oruwari. He argues that the APC is more interested in destabilizing the state government than addressing the welfare and development needs of Rivers people.
This development is yet another sad reminder that Rivers State has been plunged into unavoidable political instability as a result of power struggle, poor leadership, and gross incompetence of the ruling All Progressive Congress. The APC-controlled political structures has chosen to prioritize impeachment plots and political vendetta over governance and development of Rivers State.
Well, Igila cautioned lawmakers against actions that could suggest they have been influenced by external interests to weaponize their legislative powers against the governor.
Legislative powers must not be weaponized to settle political scores or serve external interests. What Rivers State urgently needs is stability, focused leadership, and sincere commitment to the welfare of its people, not endless political drama that mitigates development. The ADC maintains that the APC government has repeatedly demonstrated its inability to deliver the dividends of democracy to Rivers people.
Now, he adds that ADC will continue to work with well-meaning Rivers people to protect democracy and ensure governance is not disrupted by political maneuvering. Well, still to come, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors suspends planned resumption of its strike. Stay with us.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back, and now the rest of the news. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has suspended the planned resumption of its total, indefinite and complete strike earlier scheduled to begin on January 12. The decision follows a virtual emergency meeting of the association's National Executive Council after reviewing progress made on its demands through engagement with government stakeholders. NARD says the suspension is strategic and conditional based on firm commitments secured from key ministries and agencies after the intervention of Vice President Kashim Shettima. The association adds that it will reassess the situation at its National Executive Council meeting starting on January 25th. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says its operations are not targeted at opposition figures, insisting that investigations are carried out without regard to political affiliation. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede stated this in an interview with Channels Television while reacting to claims that the probe of a former Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, is politically motivated. Olukoyede says the investigation predates his tenure, noting that Malami has been under investigation for about 2.5 years and that the case is handled professionally and thoroughly. He adds that the Commission only proceeds to court when it is satisfied that it has a strong and watertight case. The EFCC has since arraigned Malami, his wife and son on a 16-count money laundering charge, with the Federal High Court in Abuja granting them bail in the sum of 500 million naira. Well, away from that, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, ahead of his participation in the 2026 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, which begins today, Monday. The president landed at the presidential wing of Zayed International Airport at about 11:30 p.m. local time on Sunday and was received by senior UAE officials, Nigerian ministers, and members of the Nigerian diplomatic mission. President Tinubu arrived from Europe, where he engaged in discussions with Rwandan President Paul Kagame and French President Emmanuel Macron. His visit reinforces Nigeria's diplomatic and economic ties with the UAE and positions the country as an active voice in global conversations on sustainable development. And now back here in River State, the people of Evo Kingdom, made up of 8 wards in Obiakpo local government area, have declared their support for the re-election of President Bola Tinubu and River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara in the 2027 general elections. The group also endorses Governor Fubara's decision to defect from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress. Reading a communique at an enlarged meeting held at the Woji Town Hall, the president of the Evo Unity Forum, Emmanuel Obonda, says the people of Evo Kingdom will follow Governor Fubara to the APC and work tirelessly to ensure his victory in the 2027 polls.
That the good people of Evo Kingdom totally endorse and support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu after a careful critical overview of his developmental stance, which includes but not limited to massive infrastructural development spread across various states, the student loan scheme, the positive effects of the fuel subsidy, that we unequivocally support our amiable governor, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, on his developmental stance in the areas of road construction, healthcare development, school, housing, and youth women empowerment.
The group also urged Governor Siminalayi Fubara to continue to count on their support, especially in appreciation of opportunities given to some of their sons to serve in government. In his remarks, the immediate past chairman of Obiakpo local government area, Chijoke Ihunwo, criticized the Speaker of the River State House of Assembly and son of Evo Kingdom, Martin Amihule, for leading what he describes as a third impeachment attempt against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Ihunwo says the action does not enjoy the collective support of the majority of the Evo people.
The man who is causing this trouble from Evo Kingdom, this has been his usual activity. He was used to impeach Professor Ifechukwu, who was then the deputy chairman of the local government. This is what he knows how to do best. This one will not work because the man is trying to Rivers people are solidly behind him. Politics his interests. Our own interest, even if we are supporting Fubara for 2020. Let us continue to pray and support the governor of Rivers State.
Well, our correspondent reports that other prominent members present at the meeting include the immediate past Commissioner for Power, Solomon Eke, a pioneer Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, Mike Enwukwe, and a former chairman of Obiakwa local government area, Freddie Ichibu, among others. And now a pan-Kalabari political watch group, the Kalabari Democratic Front, has commended the decision to establish a firefighting station in the Kalabari area, specifically in Buguma. The group describes the project as a timely and laudable initiative that will create employment opportunities, particularly for youth, while also promoting the training and development of firefighting professionals and safety experts through modern training facilities. According to the KDF, the firefighting station will significantly strengthen the fight against fire disasters within the Buguma axis and surrounding communities across the local government area. The group applauds the facilitators of the project, including the member representing Asaritora Constituency 2, Tekenari Wellington Granville, as well as the entire project implementation team for citing the critical infrastructure within the local government area of River State. The Kalabari Democratic Front also calls on aggrieved parties, especially those raising concerns about the location and environment chosen for the project, to have a rethink. It notes that the local government area remains largely underdeveloped, with a glaring lack of institutions and facilities capable of providing employment for the growing youth population. Now, the statement signed by the local government area coordinator of the Kalabari Democratic Front, Dapasisi Oyibo, and the local government secretary, Deimbo Amakri, reaffirms the group's commitment to initiatives that promote development, safety, and genuine economic empowerment for the Kalabari people.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
Iran is warning it will retaliate if attacked by the United States, as reports from the BBC and human rights groups say hundreds of protesters have been killed in a widening government crackdown. Activists say at least 495 protesters and 48 security personnel have died nationwide, with more than 10,000 people detained amid 2 weeks of unrest. And now in sports, Barcelona edged past Real Madrid in a 5-goal thriller to win back-to-back Spanish Super Cup finals in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Rafinha scored twice with his floated effort in the 73rd minute, proving decisive after an action-packed first half ended 2-2. The victory handed Barcelona a record 16th Spanish Super Cup title under coach Hansi Flick. In England, Manchester United are out of the FA Cup following a 2-1 loss to Brighton. The Sports Gang will be here from 7:05 a.m. to give you more sports stories. Well, the news was edited by Ufoma Ibamano. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili. Many thanks for listening.